So this is Acts chapter 27, and we go from verse 27 through to verse 44. And remember, Paul is in this storm, this terrible storm on the Mediterranean. The angel of the Lord has appeared to him and said, it's all right, Paul, don't be scared. You're going to go to Caesar. And in fact, not any of the people who are on this ship are going to be killed or injured through this storm. And it says, and when the 14th night came, as we were being driven about in the Adriatic Sea, about midnight the sailors began to surmise that they were approaching some land, and they took soundings and found it to be 20 fathoms. And a little further on, they took another sounding and found it to be 15 fathoms. Fearing that we might run aground somewhere on the rocks, they cast 4 anchors from the stern and wished for daybreak. But as the sailors were trying to escape from the ship and had let down the ship's boat into the sea on the pretense of intending to lay out anchors from the bow, Paul said to the centurion, to the soldiers, unless these men remain in the ship, you yourselves cannot be saved. Then the soldiers cut away the ropes of the ship's boat and let it fall away. Until the day was about to dawn, Paul was encouraging them all to take some food, saying, today is the 14th day, and you've been constantly watching and going without eating, having taken nothing. Therefore I encourage you to take some food, for this is for your preservation, for not a hair of your head or any of you will perish. Having said this, he took bread and gave thanks in the presence of all, and he broke it and began to eat. And all of them were encouraged, and they themselves also took food. And all of us in the ship were 276 persons. And when they had eaten enough, they began to lighten the ship by throwing out the wheat into the sea. And when day came, they could not recognize the land, but they did observe a bay with a beach, and they resolved to drive the ship onto it if they could. And casting off the anchors, they left them in the sea, while at the same time they were loosening the ropes of the rudders and hoisting the foresail to the wind while they were headed to the beach. But striking a reef where 2 seas met, they ran the vessel aground, and the prow struck fast and remained immovable. But the stern began to be broken up by the force of the waves. The soldiers' plan was to kill the prisoners, so that none of them would swim away and escape. But the centurion wanted to bring Paul safely through, kept them from their intention, and commanded that those who could swim should jump overboard first and get to land, and the rest should follow, some on planks and others on various things from the ship. And so it happened that they all were brought to safely to land, as the angel had said, as Paul had said. And it seems that the dynamic has changed through this period. Paul has stood up and he said, an angel has appeared to me, you're all going to be safe, although we're going to lose the ship. And suddenly it seems as if Paul is in charge. When he finds out that they were trying to lower the boats, the lifeboats, so that the soldiers could get on land, Paul says, if you do that, you're going to die in this storm. God has told me that everyone will be safe, but if you just go off now, you'll be lost. And so they cut the ropes of the lifeboats. Paul is in charge of everything that goes on. And then when they run aground, they're about to kill all the prisoners. And Paul says, no, let them go. And they'll all be safe. And that's what happens. This is amazing. Paul is amazing. Absolutely amazing. In this situation, he's there and people are looking to him because he is the man who has the anointing of God on his life. And people are looking, and people feel safe. People feel assured that they should do what he says. And they all go ashore to Malta.